Welcome to the Broski Dills podcast, the best podcast in all of the land. It's your boy Kiko Flo, Kiko Cervantes, the guy with the accent, the cute boy with the Latin accent. Yeah, that's me. Chef Maurice is in the house as well, from San Francisco until we have more news, because we understand you're moving. And Godspeed on your moving logistics, which everybody knows moving is kind of annoying. We talked about it in one of the last episodes. Changing is scary. That's why a lot of people don't move from where they are, because moving is scary. Changing, we're like little cats. We're like, as soon as we get comfortable with a place, we don't like to move. But in any case, you're in San Francisco for the moment being.
It's still scary even when you go back to a place where you've been for so long, right? I'm just basically just going back to where we grew up, but it's been 6 years since I lived there, so things changed, and it's still scary, even if it's a place that we've both been there and lived.
You're talking about Miami. I mean, you should be scared. Miami is kind of like a jungle, and it's gotten worse every time. Where you're throwing up your little hood, just to make sure they know what's good. Just spend Pembroke Pines in this bitch, repping the 954. Chef Maurice will be in Miami soon. I'm in Madrid, the land of the free. And what we try to do in this podcast is that we both are in the epicenter of the best Pride parade in the world. So pretty much you're in San Francisco, that's the best parade in the Americas. And I'm in Madrid, which is notably the best parade in Europe. So together we do like the super Pride.
Maybe one day we should just meet in New York and do the gay Puerto Rican parade at the same time.
There's a gay Puerto Rican parade?
I think so.
What? Really?
Or there's a Puerto Rican parade.
And okay.
And then we just... I don't know why the Puerto Ricans all of a sudden got into this episode.
Well, they do have a parade in
It's
New
very
York.
Notorious.
Yeah, like I understand, like famous artists go out there. There's a few shootings, but other than that, it's pretty fun, I hear. Today we're going to talk about many things, sports, some documentaries I've been watching about sports, which are pretty good. And we're also going to talk about the new bats that they're using in the MLB, which are legal, and they're enabling players to make more home runs. We're going to talk about the ethics behind it, but also the technicality that goes around these bats. And we're also going to talk about robots, AI, and how they're changing our lives, but how they're changing the fun parts only, or rather, they're only helping us on the things that we want to do already, and they're not helping us in the things that we would rather not do. And that's, I think, something that's worrying people. I didn't plan to give you this sort of introduction with all the points we're going to hit on today, but hopefully this makes it better for people to continue to watch the podcast and make it grow. We're on every platform that you can think of. Everybody that listens is smart. We don't need to tell people like, subscribe, but I just did. So yeah, support the thing. Let's talk about the AI and the robots. Right now, there's a whole thing going on with, ChatGPT being able to grab a picture and turning it into cartoons. It's not really new, but it kind of got like a little momentum this last few days with, what was it called? Studio Ghibli?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like
a Japanese.
Yeah, it's like a Japanese style cartoon. And everybody in the webosphere was showing their pictures of their family in a cartoon way. Okay, cool. That's nice and all. We've seen AI make scripts. It can help you make images. People use it now to even make movies. They're pretty shitty movies, I will say. But you can tell when a movie sort of has like a script that's AI, because it just doesn't have any human emotion in it. And the thing is, I hear people complaining, because I'm in the Websters all day long. I'm just like checking, what's going on. What are people thinking in different regions, in different places? I'm just checking the Websters. And they're saying this. They've told me this. So, I'm just telling you what they told me. They're like, why can't we have the robots or the AI do the things that we don't like? Like, for example, I sweep my house like every other day. And it gets with dust. Everything's closed. All my windows, all my doors are closed. But dust just gets in. It's almost like, I don't know if it's the ghosts of people that died here in the past and they leave dust. I don't know what the fuck it is. I don't know where it comes from. But this dust is just always in my house. And yeah, you can get a sweeper. Well, that's not a thing. But you can get like a vacuum For example, I hear
They also
that's
have
a
the robot
solution.
ones.
Okay,
The
I wanted to talk about to you about this because I know you have it, the Roomba, right?
correct. Yeah,
People will say, "Well, Kiko, there is a robot already that cleans your house, and it's called a Roomba, and it's been out for many years." Yes,
but
but
that's different. I feel.
why?
Okay, can you consider it a robot if it just has wheels and a sensor where it can sense when it's hits it in the wall or furniture or whatnot. But other than that, it doesn't do anything more special. It's like it's not talking to you.
Right,
It's not giving
but I
you
mean,
fun facts.
but is it accomplishing the task that is annoying for you to do in a successful way?
I
Which is
think
in this case, sweep up your house, right? Like in your case, I don't know if you have carpet or whatever, but I understand it works in normal flooring as well. Do you feel that it does the work so well that you never have to vacuum or sweep yourself?
no, definitely not. It doesn't
Oh,
do it
really?
well at all. Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay, so this is what I wanted to hear. Why are you hiding this part? Like, you should have come out with this in the front. All right, so tell me how this fucking piece of shit robot works. Because it's expensive as fuck. It's like 300, $400.
It is expensive as fuck. Like I said, it just has some sensors in the front, and it's like a button. Once it hits the wall or furniture, it's telling like it hits that button, and what it does is just move. Since it's circular, it just moves until it doesn't hit the button again.
So it's not even like it learns your house, and once it learns it,
No, it learns it. It
Okay.
learns it. It has like okay. I give you that. It has like a little GPS tracker because it tracks your house.
Okay,
and it tracks
motherfucker, that's
where the
intelligence right there.
Yeah, but-
You're
okay.
trashing on the thing. It's dumb, but it has
It is dumb as
intelligence.
fuck.
I mean, it's not that much of an intelligence, but there's some intelligence. Like, it doesn't do all the bumps every time. Like, after it does it a few
Correct.
times, it kind of understands. Okay, I get this house. I know where it is. I know where this motherfucker is all the time. Bam. Okay, Chinese people spying on you. Okay.
But it doesn't grab all the filth from the floor. So since it's circular, it won't get to the corner.
Right. God
So
damn it.
then you see a track, like a semicircular track in the corner with all the
Right.
dust and then all the clean stuff. But
Which
it's
is
also
even
not,
worse, right? Like, you kind of want to kill yourself at that point. Sorry, that's not, metaphorically speaking. You too,
Do you,
motherfucker.
you usually have a vacuum, right? And then the vacuum, it feels like it has more horsepower. I don't know anything about horsepower, but it feels like it
Right.
sucks more.
Okay, you do
it's
know
a-
about sucking. So
Yeah, I
that,
do know about that. I do know about
and
that.
that you can say, oh, this sucks more.
It sucks more. It has like more power than the robot thing, right?
Well, the robot thing, correct me if I'm wrong, it's not attached to anything. Like, it's like battery powered.
So it has like a home,
Right, a home
where it goes back and it
Right,
just
like-
charges itself.
like a litter box type shit.
Yeah,
For the Roomba.
exactly.
But once it goes out into the world and starts doing the work, then it's not attached to energy. It's
Correct.
battery powered.
It's battery
So from what I understand and from what I've experienced, I mean, things are getting better these days. Anything that's powered directly from the electricity of your wall, that just gonna have power, like, and then anything that needs a lot of power but it's battery, yeah, you're gonna be fucked. Whenever people would buy these little small vacuums that you would use for like your couch,
Right.
and they were like battery powered, that shit would never work.
It wouldn't like after 5 tries or 5 use, the battery would just start dying.
Like, for example, I'll give you an example of things that today are very good with battery powered, plugless, right? Cordless, okay? As they say in the Queens, Commonwealth countries. Beard trimmers. I recently bought one at my local, Best Buy, whatever equivalent in Spain. And I always look for the good prices. I think I got it for like $17. Quite a bargain. They call me Mr. Bargain here. And this thing, I've charged it like once, and it just goes for months. I mean, I also don't trim a lot. I just go like maybe 5 minutes. Vroom, 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 vroom. I reduce it. I do a little profiling. and that thing just goes forever. But there's other things, like if you're gonna get a drill for your home to open holes and shit, like let's say you're on some Jeffrey Dahmer type of vibes, you want to open motherfuckers' brains up, battery power is not gonna get you there. You need something that's plugged to the fucking system, to the electrical grid.
Well, it definitely seems like you and I don't do much of the carpentry around our house.
Wow, I just told you a bunch of facts.
Yeah, but maybe we talk to somebody who who works with the power tools, and I'm pretty sure they don't want the fucking cord.
If you're a real man, right? If you're a real man that does the things around your house,
leave a comment.
Leave a comment. Tell us what it is. If you want to come and talk to us about how how to be a man in the house, let us know.
Also, I'll be honest right now.
You're Amish? Honest.
My lady is the one who takes care of the housework.
Well, but that's
I'm no good for.
No. Oh, you mean like the fixing of the stuff?
Fixing of the stuff.
That's fucked.
She's the one who, like, if we need to do something with, some pipes and whatever, she gets into that shit. I'm just in the back standing and cheering.
Okay,
you go, girl.
You're giving Keep moral support. Maybe you have gossip girls on your phone, like to sort of cheer her up. No, I like it.
Right. When she's under the pipes, I'll just start spitting truth.
Right. No, and I think it's great because you are in San Francisco, and at the end of the day, they did want equality. So it's equality across all fronts. It's not just equality, like in the CEO positions and like presidents and shit. No, it's also, the motherfucking handyman. Let's do this shit. Well, in my house, I do pretty much all the fixings and stuff, but I do them very, mediocrely, right? Like, I suck at it. I search online. I go to YouTube. Okay, how do I replace the little thing on the fucking, where I wash my hands? Oh, and then there's a guy that does it. A guy that's kind of like dumb like me. He's like, hey, yeah, I didn't know how to do it either. This is how you do it. Don't use it like this because you're gonna break it. I broke it the first time. I had to buy another one. And then,
my lady does that as well. Like, she goes on YouTube and kind of looks at things how to fix them. But just to give you a perspective of what she does, do you remember the story I told you about the dog that we had for like a month?
The duck?
The dog.
Oh, a dog, woof, woof. Right.
Woof, woof. Remember that we had a dog and we had to give it back because of unforeseen problems with it.
Because you realized you didn't want a dog anymore. Okay, yeah.
So I think it was like the first week that we got the dog, we were just meeting him. Anyways.
I prefer to call them it.
And I remember I was working and my lady was working from home because I was like during the pandemic as well. And she went to pick me up at work and she left the dog at home. And then when we came back, half of the house was a mess, and the dog locked itself in the bathroom, and trying to get out of it, he started biting the how do you call it, the not the door but the surrounding area.
Right. Yeah. The marquee.
Yeah, I guess I don't know what the name of it is.
That's how the French would say it.
So the dog started biting there, and he tore it and he pulled it out. And we were living in a rental community where, after we leave, they would take our deposit.
The fuck was it, a Doberman or
a fucking crazy ass dog? Anyways, straight to the point.
Just to clarify for people that are asking, this dog was euthanized, so no, he's not suffering anymore. Okay, go on.
Anyways, to the point is that she came and she fixed that herself. She went to Home Depot and bought, the same length and the same width, and she painted it and she put it in the wall. It was, by the end, the community, after they did their checkout of the place, they never noticed that it was different.
Okay.
But she's a very handy woman.
Right. Like we should, like you're changing it, right? You're changing the term, but I get it. Well, yeah. Anyways, going back to battery powered things, they suck. I remember like when I was cutting grass and I was young, my friend, we kind of had a little fight for some reason, and we weren't gonna cut grass anymore together, right? So we are gonna go our separate ways. So Jose was gonna go his way, and
Separate the
Carlos,
business.
yeah, separate the business. And I remember I had like a weed trimmer that was powered, like you connected to the wall, and that shit was fucking powerful. And then I seen him, and he got a battery powered one. And in my mind, because I kind of was sad that we weren't friends anymore, I was like, yeah, you're gonna fucking lose because that shit ain't strong enough. And then I don't remember really what happened, who won in the grass cutting thing. And it's also weird, right? Like we're Latino, and it was a grass cutting thing, but
Right.
it wasn't because of that. It was just
As you were telling me the story, I was thinking about how at that age we just wanted to make some sort of money.
right.
Anything. We would do anything for
Right, we would have
100
done it
bucks.
like if a weird middle-aged man would have grabbed us and said, "Hey, kid, come here. Look, I got $100. I want you to each lick one of my balls keys." We would have gone home richer that day. So yeah, I mean, we did things like wash cars.
Wash cars was
In the community. I don't know if this happens anymore. I don't know if kids even go outside to do this. But I remember I would go outside. I would knock on the doors. I'm like, "Hey, I will wash your car for $3, and I would cut your grass for 10." Man, I swear to God, bro, I was almost working. I was almost doing slave work. That's how bad. That's how bad they were paying me. And I didn't have expenses. I just wanted to buy Domino's pizza, which was like $7 a pie or some shit like that. And then the most dangerous thing that we did was put up shutters in houses when the hurricanes were coming. If you know about Florida, I'm guessing they do this in Tornado Alley too. You put shutters on your windows, right? With like these metal things that protect it from objects flying in. But like if you were if you were in the lower brackets of the economic spectrum, like me and some of my people, Chef Maurice, he had a nicer house than me originally. But some of these places didn't have this nice accordion shutters that you would just close up and as a curtain. Some
I
of
think
them
that
you
was
had
the
to.
next step in their technology.
Right. No, but
It's
it was also a thing of like pricing. I remember in my community, we had the cheap shutters, the ones that just came with the house by default because the law required it. And then you
I think
saw
it was
people.
because we didn't know.
Oh, we
Because
didn't
our
know?
parents didn't know. Like we came from a country that didn't have hurricanes, right?
No, I know, but I think our parents, I mean, must have known that. I don't know. Maybe they didn't. That at one
maybe-
point we were gonna have to put those fucking shutters up.
Right. Maybe our parents would be like, well, maybe we get the accordion one, spend a little bit more, and then it will be safer or faster and not have to do fucking manpower or pay somebody from the streets to do it for
Right.
you.
Or have our fucking kids do it. In my case, we did it.
I did it once and I did it bad. Like I didn't do it right. And
the house flew.
that was the day I'm like, maybe it's the shit I shouldn't do.
Well, I remember like we were 13 and some friends from the community, we would go. For people that don't know what this is, like you're literally going up to the window and you're putting this big metal panel that fits right in the window, and then you have to put in some what's this called, like
Screws.
screws in. Yeah, I need to learn English again.
But
Anyways,
it's like a two-man job because it's
Yeah.
also heavy.
well,
And
not
one
only
has
that,
to hold on
you
one
needed
side.
you needed a fucking ladder
ladder.
to go to the second floor. Which now that I think about this, I'm like, bro, adults were allowing 13-year-old kids to put up shutters with ladders in the second floors of their home. And I remember one time we did like 3 houses in a day, which to us was like a huge amount of
lot.
money. And I remember the third house, like the storm was coming, and we were like, let's finish this. Like fucking panels just going with the wind. And I can't believe these people, like today, I'm guessing this is not possible because I don't know, they would be scared to get sued. But it was crazy, like how we put up shutters for people. I remember we put shutters for some Indian family. For some reason, it's the one that, is in my memories from that time. And they paid us shit. And they had a huge house, and we fucking went to the second floor and put those shutters up. Anyways, that's the type of thing that we did to get money.
What else? What else did we do to get some teenage money?
That was pretty much it. Washing cars, cutting grass. and I had a nice little,
Oh, the
grass
cleaning
cutter.
the windows.
The
I
windows.
would the windows. I would go into houses and like ask if I could wash their windows
But
for
like from the outside or go
right from the
inside.
outside. No,
Oh,
from the
okay.
outside.
Oh, I never thought
I'll
of
bring
that
my
one.
hose and I'll bring my Home
My
Depot.
hose. When you open the door, it's like you and two other Latinas. What's that? This is my hose. We're gonna clean your windows.
The solution for the windows and yeah, I would bring my little bucket and shit and
Oh, that's
go
nice.
to. But I didn't. That's the other thing. We only did it once, get $100 once, and then move on into the new until we needed more money, and then
Yeah, I mean, it
wash
wasn't like
cars.
a fucking organized business, but
It's funny that we wash cars over there, and it rained. It seemed like every day, right? So we wash cars, and then it would rain and fuck it up, and then we would go back again and kind of wash it again.
I'll be honest with you. Like, I think that as much as that, didn't do anything for me in a big way, like, you know, money wise, I think it was like a great experience. And I don't think these experiences are being had today. I mean, we've had this, millennial talk in the past, like, for example, in Halloween, how Halloween is not Halloween anymore because kids don't go outside, things are more dangerous, everything's just more eerie and shit. And I think also experiences such as, us playing outside. I know it sounds very cliche, but like playing outside and going to your neighbors and asking if they want something done for money, I think that builds character, and I don't think that that happens these days, and like that was part of like us having fun and interacting with people, and like us going to a house. I can't even imagine the fact that as a young kid I went to houses and just asked people like, "Hey, hi, how are you? I want to clean your car. Do you want me to do that?" And they did it, like, and I think that that was part of like a community feeling that I don't know if today that exists anymore.
Hmm. I don't know. I think people are more scared now
Yeah, they're scared.
to let anyone in or to just go knock on anyone's door.
Yeah, it's sad. It's sad.
On
Talking about.
the
Mhm.
YouTube, on the YouTube once I found a guy who would go into communities and offer to cook for them.
What the fuck?
And you would see like how many times he would be turned down.
I mean, but that's weird, bro. What the fuck is that?
I mean, I don't think it's a bad thing. It's a bad idea.
Nah, that's fucking whack. Cause that's like super like I don't even know what you're gonna cook, and then now you're inside. That's even like the plot to like a horror
No,
movie.
so he would be like, all right, so what do you guys want or what do you guys like? And then go buy the stuff and just bring it back.
Yeah, even weirder. The only way I the only way I would do that is like if you come with your own food truck, you park it outside, and then you wanna make some fucking burritos your style with the Filipino sauce or whatever. I'm down for
It's
that.
that sense of community and
Yeah,
being
but that's
close to
something
the.
you gotta build it up. So some just guy walking around like, "Hey, you want me to cook for you?" And then you find out he's cooking meth. That shit happens, bro. So be
So not a good
careful.
idea.
Yeah, I
Damn.
mean, I get and it also, you know what? It almost sounds like a YouTube channel of a fucking douchebag that would just go around like, hey, yeah, we're gonna go and we're gonna cook for all these homeless people. Hey guys, what do you guys want? We want crack, motherfucker. Like, I don't know. Do you know these channels of people that like do good things, but it's almost like very
Fake.
pretentious? Yeah, it's fucking whack. I wanted to talk to you about some interesting things in sports. By the way, I've been watching the Boston Celtics documentary on HBO or Max, as it's called now. It's kind of like those things with Twitter and X where you have to fucking keep going back and forth. But anyways, really good series. You learn about like the starts of like Boston basketball, which is one of like the oldest institutions for basketball, and like the whole dynamics from like the very beginnings. Now I'm into 80s 90s era. I think there's more episodes to come out, and they're talking about like right when Jordan was going to start to be big, there was another kid called Len Bias who was and this is where like the episode ends, and this is a story that I heard of, but it's pretty fucking sad. Apparently this kid Len Bias, he was being drafted by the Celtics, while Jordan, I believe, was being drafted to the Bulls or was soon to be. And apparently, this kid was gonna like bring the dynasty of Celtics, back because Larry Bird, and a few others in the other team were doing so in the past years, beating Magic Johnson's Lakers many years. Anyways, I don't want to get derailed on this, but really watch the documentary. And this kid, Len Bias, 2 days. I searched the news now. 2 days after being drafted by the Boston Celtics, he died from a cardiac arrhythmia triggered by cocaine overdose with friends and teammates. So, did you know about that story?
I did. I did know about that story. He was very excited to be part of the Boston Celtics, I guess.
I think I heard, I don't know if it was Shaq, when they asked him about drugs and shit, he said, like, around the time when he saw the whole Len Bias thing, his dad told him, like, hey, never do drugs, something like that. And he was like, I'll never do drugs because of that. And, bro, it's crazy because to overdose on cocaine in the 80s, it wasn't an easy thing. Like these days, you have the fentanylski, and that shit could fucking put you down, even if you do a little bit. So that's what's scary. I mean, and we've always talked about it in the podcast. Don't do anything that's just powder like. These days, I mean, that's not even worth it, Just a little wine, a little whiskey. See how I said it? And that's it. And that's it. Enjoy your friends. Talk about stories. World War I, World War II, Vietnam. It's all fun.
Is that wait, is that something that you do? Like,
What?
do you go out to your friend's house and talk about World War One? Is that something that comes up?
No, that doesn't happen, but because I don't have other friends that have that interest like me. I actually was thinking about that today. That was like, it's sad that I don't have any friends that I could talk to about this. And I don't know if it's because people don't like this or if I just have retarded friends that don't care about history at all.
I love history, and
I love war, bro.
I love war. But I stopped reading about it as before. I used to do a lot of reading on that, but now I don't do as much, so I'm not super fresh on it. But anyways, I wouldn't want to go to your house and talk about World War One. I think we have better things to talk about.
Well, I mean,
but it is something that we can like touch up on. Hey,
yeah,
how do you feel about World War?
I'm always happy to talk about it. I'm reading a book now that seems eternal because it's a World War One and Two book. It's really good, but it's like the longest book I've fucking read, and it's like
Never
all
ending.
it's never ending. Like all the books that I've read before are like they take me 5 to 10 hours to read, depending. That's how big they are. And this one, I'm by like, I mean the smaller books, but this book, and it's not even that thick, but I guess the letters are too small. This book, I'm on hour 13 because I sort of measure it. I put every hour that I read, and I'm like halfway done. So this is gonna be like a 25-hour book, which is, and it's like dragging. It's like Severance. If you're watching the series Severance, it just drags. It's good, but it drags. And this book is just dragging.
Are you reading Mein Kampf?
No, but I would like to. Just to know how what the dude was thinking. When I said that it was dragging, is that something also that drag queens do when they're doing the thing? They're dragging.
They're dragging, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And if you're like, that Rhaenyra, that bitch from Game of Thrones, is that her name? No, Khaleesi's.
The mother of dragons?
Yeah, when she would be riding the motherfucker, she was dragging.
All right, I give you that one. That one's a good one. Khaleesi. How do you feel about people? No. How do you feel about people who are naming their kids Game of Thrones names?
Yo, that's fucking weird. Today today I saw this bizarre bitch that I follow on Instagram. You know those people you follow in social media because you hate them?
I just try to not follow them.
Nah, bro. Sometimes you gotta have some good hate follows. Like I hear people that are like, "Oh, I follow Trump just to hate on the motherfucker." People do that, There's this like my hate follows aren't even famous people. They're random people from the internet. Most of them I don't even know, but that I just came about across the years. And I see them once and I'm like, wow, this person is so annoying. What they put, like, it's so annoying. And I just follow it so that every time I see them, I'm like, wow, you're so annoying and such a loser. And one of those people that I follow today posted like a picture of their dog.
Wait, are you gonna give names?
No, I'm not going to. But it said something like, "Oh, they said that being a dog mom was hard, but here I am. My little doggy had, a little throw up tonight." And then I see that it has an Instagram account for the dog,
Crazy.
and the Instagram account's name is Arya Stark, character from Game of Thrones.
No.
So I live for those moments. I saw that shit and I was like, God damn it, you're so fucking retarded. And that gave me a little happy.
I was gonna
inside.
say, did you seize the moment and just went out?
Yeah.
Did you leave a comment?
No, I don't. I don't even like anything ever. Nothing. I'm like a ghost.
It's weird. It's weird if you have a Instagram page for your dog or for your baby.
Yeah, that's
It's fucking weird.
strange.
For your
But
for your like 4-year-old, don't do that shit. That's
But
weird.
then you put this you seen children that have been put Game of Thrones names.
I know. I don't know if I would have to really think about it, but like I've heard of people like naming their kids like Arya and
That's fucking strange because
Khaleesi.
damn, because like coming from Venezuela, we are no strangers to weird ass names, right? Because in Venezuela, there's like this. Not
Epidemic.
and it wouldn't be not all sections of the population, but certain sections of the population, they're fond of really weird names that are gonna make it hard for you to get a job, right?
There's a lot of Jon Snow, like YONESNOU.
Right, for example.
Snow.
And there's all sort of variants that you can find in Venezuelan names that are trashy, so to speak, right? I mean, they're trashy names.
We've touched on a famous one for us, Uniker.
John Iker is a very famous one. And just for people to think like, oh, where's John Iker comes from? Well, John Iker comes from Joe Jordan, right?
Right.
John Air, that's Jordan Air, right? The shoe. And then Kerr was the last one?
Nike.
Oh, Nike, John Iker. Yeah, right. So it's
They just added an R and a
at the
Y
end.
just to make it.
Just to also make it a little, personal. But yeah, this is the type of shit they do, right? So they're mixing up the names. And when you're talking about new people now in the US putting Game of Thrones names, to me that's like the equivalent. It's like you're going so down in the culture, and the culture is deteriorating at such an extent that now people are fucking up the names that they give kids. Because I do think that giving your kid a good name is important. I'm not saying give him a fucking regal name, right? Like, doesn't have to be called fucking Willem, right? Elizabeth. But give it a good name for the environment it's gonna be in.
Right. Give them a head start.
And I think that people, I'll be honest, because people don't like to talk about this, right? If they're like in a dinner, they're like, oh, no, yeah, any name you give, no, that's beautiful, right? But we got to be honest with each other. Like, everything, humans judge everything. That's part of like how we are naturally. That's part of our biology. So the name is the first thing that people are going to see, So maybe don't give, you don't want to attract too much attention, so don't give it a name that's so. I actually think it's best if you get a name that's actually like can go in the weaves. For example, my first name is Carlos. Carlos. That's the most common name in the Spanish language. I mean, I don't know if it's cool to have like a common name, but at least I'm not raising any flags.
I think your name and your last name are very, very common.
Don't say my last name here, but yeah, I have a very common Spanish name. Like in Spain and in Spanish-speaking countries, I think most people have my name. It's a very common name.
And in the other hand, my name and my last name are not that common. Or my name is Mauricio is.
Mauricio, Maurice is
At least in Spanish
yeah,
is.
I wouldn't say it's the most common one.
It's not the most common, but
It's not a common one.
it's heard of. But
And then
in
your last name, which we won't say it, but your last name is more like a Italian type shit. Is it Italian or more
sure.
Portuguese or I don't know. It's
Jewish?
weird, right?
I
It's
don't know.
Jewish too. It could be
Yeah,
like one of
yeah.
my last names is like a Spanish version of the Jewish name, so I might have some Jewish blood in me.
Mm.
So I'm thinking of getting a yarmulke just to have it on reserve.
Maybe what you need to do is a 23andMe and make sure.
Yeah, don't even talk to me about 23andMe. I want to talk to you about that shit.
No, but remember when I did mine? I
Mm-hmm.
have some Senegalese, so I can say certain words
Right,
and do certain things and eat certain things.
right, because you're Senegalese.
I have 1% Senegalese in me.
Yeah, so put some respect on the name. No, but people don't know this. There were the Sephardi Jews. They went to Spain, and they stayed there for a long time. The Spanish kicked them out after some. You know how it is. You gotta leave. You can't just be here. So, but apparently, one of my last names comes from a variation of one of the Jewish names in Galicia. So yeah, anyways, who the fuck knows where we're from? But I wanted to ask you about 23andMe. They're in some legal issues now. They're going bankrupt. They've leaked all the information that they had to the black market. So how do you feel about that? Because that's the one that you use, right?
No, that's not the one I use, but it's one that's like the most popular right now. I think
You use Ancestry, right?
Ancestry. I use the
Oh, okay.
competition.
The competition.
But,
So yeah, this one hasn't been leaked.
I'm not afraid. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's gonna eventually somehow come out, right? It has to.
And you don't care.
I mean, of course I do, but what can I do at this point? Already fucked up.
No, I think we're all like part of the web now. Like, we're everywhere. Like people know. Like the other day I checked because I got this weird email that came from myself saying like, "Hey, I've hacked you. I've been looking at all the stuff you watch, and
Maybe it's you from the future or from another universe. It's
Yeah,
just
'cause-
trying to connect with you.
yeah, that's what I thought first. I was like, okay, let me make sure the LSD is off first, right? And then I'll look back into this. But it was one of these weird spam or scam emails where I'm like, oh wait, this is a little weird because it says it's coming from me. Normally you would click on it and you would see, oh, it's not me. They just put in my name. But then this was like my email. It was weird. I went into my sent folder. I hadn't sent this to myself because sometimes I might think, am I like in severance where I've been severed and this is my future self talking to, or like, my other self talking to myself. But it wasn't any of that. I figured out it was a whole scam. They're able to do this, but I'm really not being scammed. Like they're not inside me yet. And then I went to check. Let me check if people are trying to sign in my email. And bro, every day, every 15 minutes, somebody's trying to log into my email continuously.
Wait, how the fuck do you do that? I want to
Yeah,
know.
if you go into your whatever email you have, I have Hotmail because that's where I'm at. I go back in time. You might have Gmail, whatever. You go into your settings, privacy, and then you go into login history, and you can see all the failed attempts. And I looked at
Damn.
it, and it's a continuous line that never ends. And every 15 minutes or so, somebody's trying to log in into my email, and like it's like Russia, Angola, South Africa, Malaysia, like bro, it's a whole hack. Like it's crazy, man. It's crazy.
That means like a couple of things. That your password is strong as fuck.
That is for certain.
They definitely want to hack you.
Well, this is the thing, right? What I realize is everyone's email is being trying to be hacked by people every day. The thing is, if you have a strong enough password, they're just gonna go and hack the easier ones. But
Right.
they have machines every day attempting to log in into your account, which is insane. So why do I say this? Well, one thing, I mean, we're millennials, so we're good with privacy and security most of the time. But I know millennials that fall for it too. Have a really strong password. have a variant of that password for your different applications. So you have your main password, and then you have a variation of that password for different applications. So, for example, if it's your email, you have your strong password, and then you put .mail at the end. And then you have that same strong email for your HBO, and then you have that password .hbo. So that the password is a little different for each app, but it's still rooted on the same main password that you want to remember. And then the second thing is activate second verification, two passwords where they have to send a code
Two-way.
to your phone. Yeah, two-way notification. Anyways, this is like boomer talk. Let's get to the fucking topic. Tornado bats. Is that what
Torpedo.
Well, man, this is why this podcast doesn't really do well. Torpedo bats for people that like baseball, sports, or just technology improving in sports in general. This is a very interesting story. If you can get, while we're talking about this, a picture of both a normal bat and a torpedo bat, so that we can surely show it to the people that are listening, or you don't have that capability right now. If you don't, that's fine. I'll search for one. But pretty much how it works is there's this new technology, or this new technology has been applied to the bats that they use in baseball. And what they're doing is, instead of distributing the weight of the bat more towards the end of the bat, they're putting that weight a little bit more towards the middle of the bat. So if you're listening, I'm going to describe it. It's like imagine you roll a blunt, right? Normally the blunt would have most of the bud towards the end. So that would make it like a V shape. That's why they call it a bat, right? It's skinnier in the bottom and then thicker at the end. But let's say you have your friend Julio, who just recently started rolling blunts. Because you've been teaching him, you got to teach the ropes. I mean, the kid is only 13, but you want him to get out there, make things happen. So Julio's rolling this bluntski, and he doesn't know how to do it. He doesn't distribute the buds correctly. So there's more bud in the middle. So when you roll the bluntski, it's fatter in the middle than at the end. So what ends up happening in baseball is that gives the batter a little bit more space in the bat that he can use to knock it out of the park. And this is making it easier for batters to get home runs. Now, for the MLB, this is in line with their agenda that they've been having in the last few years of making the games funner. Because for people that aren't versed in the baseball world, most people agree that baseball's boring to watch. I like it myself. I know Chef Maurice likes it himself too. But there are things in baseball that have gotten boring, and this also come with getting better at the game. Pitchers have gotten better. So this makes it harder for batters to hit. If batters don't hit, that makes the game more boring, right? So now the batters have this new tool. So I wanted to ask you, did you know about this? What do you think about it? Is it cheating? Is it not? I heard Dave Portnoy, the guy from Barstool. Apparently he was a baseball player in the past, and he was talking about, like, in the past, you really need to be good to hit the ball, and now it's not like that. So that's cheating, this and that. What do you think?
I think it's, like you said, it's definitely going with the agenda of making the game funner. And it always has been about home runs. Ever since, I don't know, before we were born. That's what made the game funner, I guess. People would pay the ticket to go see so-and-so hit home runs, right? And then in the 90s, we had Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa and Barry Bonds and all these great players who came after them. And then the game has been centered, into home runs. That means that you're powerful, that you have a lot of strength. And I don't know why. It's one of the most, when you go to a game or you watch a game and you see home runs, people get super excited. Even more, you can score runs other ways than home runs. Unlike like soccer, where the only way to score is one way, right?
Right.
So yeah, it definitely goes with the agenda of making the game funner and more, more of the spectacle. I don't think it's cheating. You're just, like you said, you're distributing the weight to another. I mean, you're
So
not
you
making it
agree?
bigger. I agree. I like this thing, and I had heard about it just I guess the same time around. Everybody heard of it, uh, but I know, or from what I've read, is that a lot of players used it last year as well. But I guess it didn't make that much of a that much noise, rather than the couple games that we had in the first week of baseball, where I don't know, the Yankees were hit like 9 home runs in one game. So that's why the talk started, because that day happened, or that game happened, where a lot of home runs were hit. I like it.
Okay.
Keep them coming.
I'm
If
gonna try to
it,
show. I'm gonna try to show people
and like you said,
the bat.
the pitchers have gotten better. So why not the batters? Can get better.
Right. Oh yeah, that's true. That's a good argument there. All right, so you can see this, right, Chef Maurice? So for people that are seeing this, because you said something, oh, they're just distributing it, they're not changing it. I mean, I do agree with you, but I do want to clarify that this does give the batter more space in the bat that can actually get the ball out of the park. Because if you look at the image, and if you're running and just listening to it, just imagining it in your head, imagine your little pinino was thicker in the middle than at the top. So what happens is, normally to get it out of the bat, you need to hit it in the sweet spot, and that sweet spot is towards the end of the bat, so that you can get the most torque, and that's where you normally need to hit it, so that all your power is transferred to the ball and can get it out of the ballpark. With a torpedo bat, if you're seeing it through the YouTube, it's easier to see than to hear it. They make it thicker in the middle, and from my understanding, Chef Maurice, I mean, maybe I'm talking shit here, but it makes it so that from that point onwards, so it's almost half the bat, you can hit it anywhere there, and if you hit it hard enough, you can get it out of the ballpark. Without it, you wouldn't have been able to. Do you agree?
Hmm. I I guess I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, from what I see here, they didn't they make these bats to fit the players, because they find out that they hit the ball more in that spot, and then they're putting their weight in that part, right? Not only in that middle part, but it could shift.
Yeah, but I mean, Dave Portnoy would say that the fact that you're hitting it there, the fact that your team found out that you're hitting the ball in the middle of the bat, well, that means you're hitting it wrong. You're not catching the ball where you need to. I mean, that's an argument too. I mean, this is what I'm gonna say. I agree with you that we should allow it, because pitchers have also gotten better. So I see it as a way of giving the batter a little advantage too, because pitchers, for people that don't know, I mean, just with technology, they're able to see which spins work better. I think the certain pitches are coming back, like the slider, and the spider tag is another thing they put in their hand so that they can grip better and they can make a spin faster, and it's a lot harder to hit. So I can see this making it a little fairer for the batter, but it is making hitting easier, which in the past you sort of had to catch it correctly to get it out of the park.
But it's the spider tag is not permitted. It's
Well,
it's banned.
it isn't, but isn't it one of those things that is sort of not permitted, but they
Right.
still use it?
Same with before you would see pitchers like spit on the ball, because it would give a better grip for some reason. But now they can wet their hands, but they have to dry it before touching the ball. And then
Yeah.
they're always getting checked. And a lot of pitchers are now throwing 100 miles per hour. So yeah,
You would
I'm not
agree that
against it.
it's harder, like it's harder for batters to bat today because of the pitchers, right?
Oh, for sure. I mean, it has always been hard. I think it's the hardest thing to do in
No, I know,
sports.
but I'm saying in comparison
I,
to 20 years
20 years
to
ago,
now.
right? Definitely,
I mean,
definitely.
you have a lot more pitchers throwing over 100, and you have them throw, I think, crazier pitches, and also for some reason I don't know why this was in the past. Now you have a lot more pitchers throwing. So it's a lot fresher hands. In a game in the past, it was just the starter and the finisher. And now you can have like, up to like 4 pitchers in a game. So you have them with more fresh hands and they vary. So it's not like you can learn what a pitcher's doing. Anyways, I digress. Let me get back to the bats. Now, why I say this is in line with MLB's agenda is because they've made other decisions recently that are sort of made to stimulate the game and there be more runs so that the games are more fun. One of those things is the pitcher's timing, which now they have a timer, so they cannot just continue to wait. They have to pitch at a certain time, which makes the game faster. They made the bases bigger so that you can steal them easier and more people would steal them. And they also made it so that the pitcher only had 3 attempts to catch a runner that's trying to steal. And this is all to encourage people to steal bases because people weren't stealing bases recently because statistics show that stealing bases were bad. If you've seen the movie Moneyball, Billy Beane, the manager for the Athletics, from the moment that they started applying these statistics, baseball changed because now you couldn't make this decision. And this is what made baseball fun in the past, too. I mean, you shouldn't cry because it's changing, but you could have some nostalgia that in the past, things were made out of instinct. So you would steal a base because you felt it or you would bunt. But now everything is a statistics. And this is happening across all sports. Basketball is only having 3-point throws because statistically that works better. And I guess the conversation, more than the bat is what happens now that sports are getting so well studied that it's making them boring. Like this happens in golf too, where like now the clubs and the way people are hitting, now the courses are too small for them. And they need to make them bigger. And this is happening across all sports. Like even in soccer, this happens where like now it happens less because there's more variance, but certain strategies in soccer have been studied to the point where they work so well that they don't do the risks that they used to do in the past, which allow for the football to be a little bit more funner to see and more entertaining. So it's happening across all sports, and I don't know what the answer is because I agree with baseball, allowing this bat, making it easier to hit, more fun, more runs. But when do you stop it? Like, what's the gauge?
I think there's none. There's none until something happens, until it gets out of hand. But for now, I think they're just going to let it go and ride it until you can't anymore.
Well, they kind of have to because they see that they're losing money, right? People aren't watching sports like they used to.
Instead of going to the games, you mean, or like watching it at home?
They're just not watching it at all. Like people are watching less and less sports, and they're also competing with the streaming services. Like you're not just competing with Channel 5 News. I mean the actual like channel in your local area, not the YouTube channel. But you're competing with all these streaming services, and the games are getting more boring than in the past. So it's like a combination of there being more options for viewers and the sports getting boring.
I don't know. I don't think sports overall has had a less viewership. I think there's a lot of people getting into it. I mean, definitely some sports do get less viewerships than other, and I do think it depends on a lot of the rules and a lot of the show of it. In baseball, you can get games that are 12 to 11. But in soccer, for example, you have like a 0-0 tie. So sometimes that's not as visually appealing as, let's say. But I don't know if it's fair to compare something like baseball that's mainly played in the U.S. and soccer that's something it feels like it's more worldwide.
More worldwide, yeah.
I don't know. I think sometimes in soccer, like a 0-0 tie might be very fun.
Yeah.
But But if you're looking for goals and like so much excitement, I don't think soccer might be that answer, for example.
No, I think soccer is a very European sport, and is it. I understand why it's hard for Americans to appreciate it because it's like the total opposite of basketball, where basketball you're scoring every minute. Both sides are
But
scoring. Like they make it easy to score so that both sides are scoring all the time, and then at the end it's a battle of who scored a little more than the other. And in soccer, it's the total opposite. It's like we're stopping each other from scoring the whole game until one of us goes through the threshold and finally scores one, and that's why that goal is so valuable. I think it makes it soccer. Let's just say soccer to not confuse with football. Soccer makes it for I think more epic moments, right? Like because a goal in a certain situation to win a championship can mean so much, but it makes it so that there's a lot less of those, right? So it's a lot more. I mean, a soccer purist will say like, no, bro, you don't even know what you're talking about. I enjoy even the boring games because it's all about the tactics. I mean, I myself, I'm not a soccer fan per se, and I do sometimes get bored. Like I heard this guy Piqué from Barcelona, who played for Barcelona for many years. He even said something that I thought it was kind of cool. Like for people that don't know, if you tie in a soccer game in a championship sort of bout, each team get a point. If you win, you get 3 points. The loser gets zero. But if you tie, both of you get a point. And Piquet was saying that maybe what you should do to make teams sometimes fight a little harder and make it more fun is so that if you tie, neither team gets a point. And this makes it so that they have more of an incentive to play and score. Because sometimes that does happen. Like soccer, I mean, I hate to say it because, I'm supposed to support it and all this. And it's a beautiful game, but it's a game that can get boring. And especially when you're talking about games that are for points and that tying the game gives you a point, so you're good with that. I do think that is something that American games don't have. They make it a little more, urgent to score.
the the only other sport I remember right now, like doing a quick mind search, is hockey. Before, after they tied, they would go to overtime, and then after overtime, if they were still tied, they would share points. I think it's like a different point system than soccer, but still it's a point system. And I think they, before it was ties, and then I remember that the hockey league went into like a lockout for a season or so, and then they redid some of the rules so that won't happen. So now it's the game. If it's tied, they go to overtime. If it's tied, then they go into like a shootout, like penalty kicks, if you will, in soccer. And then they get different points than if they would have won in the regular game.
Okay. They don't get
So
as
if
much.
it, right, let's say I don't know how the point system is, but I think it's like if they win the game, it's let's say 6 points. If they win in overtime, I think it's like 4 points, and then if they win in the shootout, it's like 2 points. So they're trying to make it so they win and they get more points, and then
Right.
I think it's something like that
And I think that's a perfect example. I didn't even know about that because hockey, in many ways, is similar to soccer. I mean, it's literally the same game, but with
in the ice.
in the ice, right? But I'm saying it's the same core type system. And I think that's a perfect way of looking at it because it is true. Americans cannot withstand a sports game that you go home and they tied. Like they cannot process it. I mean, am I right in saying there's no sports like out of the main sports you cannot tie in any of them, or
No,
am I lying?
now that I think about it, American football has ties. It doesn't happen as much as in soccer. It happens maybe once a season, and it has happened lately. It has happened more lately than before. Before they would go into overtime, and then there had to be a winner. But I think that now in the regular season, since it's so physically demanding, and now they have more games in the season, I think they're allowing ties. I think that has to be one of the reasons why. Also, the rules have changed. I know that yesterday or a couple days ago, the owners met and they changed the overtime rules again. So each team would get the ball and both could score. And then after the overtime, if no, there's no winner, then yeah, there would be a tie.
The
But
thing
like I
is,
said, it's very
it's very
rare.
rare. Yeah, the thing is with football, it's hard because there's not an easy way to do a shootout.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's not like in soccer where you can do penalties, or even in basketball. I don't even. I was just gonna ask you about basketball. In basketball, you can do free throws, and that's a way of doing it. Like
But I think
basketball, what happens if you tie in basketball? You just go to overtime.
overtime and keep going until
Right.
there's a
But
winner.
the thing is with basketball, it's easier because you're both scoring. So all that needs to happen is one of you to kind of get an error, and that's it.
In baseball, I don't know if you remember, but maybe I don't know, 8 or 10 years ago, there would be games that would last 16, 18 innings because it would be tied. And then baseball changed that rule to one, make the game shorter, and two, to have a faster winner by implementing like the last batter from the last inning would start in the second base, and then that would allow for you guys to score runs faster and then make the game move faster. And I think since that rule has been implemented, the longest game has been maybe 12 innings, but maybe 12 or 14, one of those. But it doesn't last as long. And that happens after the ninth inning. So 10th on, you have that runner on base. I don't know. Sports, it seems like sports have been uh, moving forward or trying to change a lot because the times are changing. There's more technology into sports. There's more thoughts and like you were saying at the beginning, like more statistics that go into it. I don't think like now baseball has so many more statistics than when I grew up. Now there's like war and this and that, and they sign players because they fit that category. And then same with soccer. There's certain players that fit your system, and then maybe he does one thing great, but not he can complement other players, and the other players can complement. So their evolution,
They've evolved.
they evolve. Yeah.
They're
They've
evolving.
evolved, and I think it's just going to keep going. And every year, there's going to be a point where every year it's just going to be rule changes just to fit that parameter of
Yeah, I
people
think
are
we're
getting
getting to a
better.
point where that's happening more and more because the game is getting so much smarter. You know, like for a while they had to stop. I think they changed this in baseball where there was a time where like the whole infield and outfield could move because they knew a batter couldn't bat to a certain place, and that made it even harder to make runs and make the game fun. So I think there is something that comes with technology. It makes certain things better, but it does bring its own problems because now the game is not fun. Like I hear basketball. I've never really been a basketball fan, but I hear basketball. It's people are complaining now because nobody's throwing from the paint. Nobody's going in to do layups. It's all 3-pointers. And they say the game is just like a 3-pointer shootout. Like every game is just a 3-pointer shootout. There's no really physicality. There's no games going on. There's no actual plays being made.
Well, scoring has gone up in basketball as well, like a lot up. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but in the 90s, all the games would be like 70, 80, or 70, 60, around that range. And now games are going to like 120 to 125. And it's not, that's because of the 3-point shooter. Now they're better. I have one here who lives very close, Steph Curry. I don't know if you've heard of him.
Yeah.
He's the best 3-point shooter ever. And he does it so well that maybe that's why the Warriors have been so good for so long.
Well, I mean, he was the one that brought the trend, right? He was
Right.
the one that brought that trend, and then everybody realized that that's how you win games.
He already passed the player with the most 3 points. He passed him, I think it was last year.
Really?
He already passed him, and he's already over like by a lot.
Damn, that's crazy.
and he still has maybe, I don't know, 2 more years to play, 3 more years to play. So his numbers can keep going up and up.
So that's the team in your hood, right? What are they called? The San Francisco Warriors?
The Golden State Warriors.
Oh, Golden State. Okay.
Because this is the Golden State.
Right. Okay. Well, that's been a nice, fun. Sorry, go.
No, I just wanted to say that we only get serious when we're talking about sports. Everything else is a fuck around.
Right. Everything else is just my panini and my.
But we talk about sports. It's like
if you catch the episode when we're talking about sports, you would think like, oh, these guys are actually cool peeps. They're cool beans. No, but yeah, hey, if anything that we said offended you or you have different thoughts on this, please comment. We're on every platform. We love you. We miss you. And please, share the thing, subscribe to it, leave the comments, likes, share it, comment, leave the likes, share it, comment, leave the likes. Jeff Maurice, thank you for joining.
Leave the likes, share, comment.
Comment, leave the likes. Love you guys. Take care.